Hi, in today's session we are going to discuss about Jainism. See, Jainism is actually a very important chapter as a continuity from the later Vedic period. Later Vedic society and later Vedic civilization actually went through a lot of rigidity and casteism. One of the reactions to the later Vedic social features was the rise of heterodox sects. And among the heterodox religions, Jainism was one of the most important and one of the significant contributors along with Buddhism. Buddhism and Jainism, they were essentially reactionary developments. Reactionary developments to the Vedic rigidity, particularly later Vedic rigidity. Jainism is literally means following a jina. A Jain essentially means follower of a jina, and jina literally means conqueror of knowledge or enlightened or omniscient. These are the words which are used to describe a Jain monk. Firstly, we will see the causes and the rise of new religion in approximately 600 BC. Later Vedic society, that is the period of 600 BC, was mainly a Varna divided society. There were 4 Varnas or 4 categories. Kshatriya community, which was the second in the Varna classifications, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Among these 4, Kshatriya was the second category. Kshatriyas were the main persons or main community involved with rituals, and they were reactionary. Particularly, they were opposing the ritualistic domination by the Brahmanas. The priestly class or the Brahmanas actually had specific domination, specific ritualistic control over the society. And later Vedic society, as we have seen in one of the previous sessions also, was primarily an Iron Age civilization involved with iron plowshare, sacrificial ceremonies, particularly Bali. The word is Bali. Bali was a very common feature of all the Vedic rituals. The peasant communities in the later Vedic society, later Vedic period, were mainly focused on cattle wealth, and the Bali practice or giving animals in sacrifice practice only made issues even more challenging. The ritualistic domination of the Brahmanas also brought economic complications. It also involved or introduced economic challenges and economic complications, the rituals as well as the Bali aspect, and the new forms of property. For example, later Vedic period, approximately 600 BC, if you see, the peasant community was very rich. Agriculture was at its peak. The peasant community was very rich, wealthy. This peasant community, which was basically categorized as Shudras, always tried to question this logic of why they are the lowest part of the society. When compared to the economic activity, they are the largest players. Shudras were also supported by the Vaishya communities. The Vaishyas, the Shudras questioned the discrimination, given that they both contributed the most economically to the society. And Kshatriyas, who became the victims of ritualistic domination, also started to oppose the later Vedic rigidity. Kshatriyas, as said, specifically against ritualistic domination by the Brahmanas, and most of these new communities were particularly against killing of cattle. For example, the practice of go-ghana. Go-ghana is actually was a practice of killing cattle for rituals in the early Vedic period for consumption. This was specifically prohibited as suggested by J.N. Mehta, historian. Vaishyas, with increase in trade and commerce, they had specific importance in the society, and the new social inequalities, particularly with land becoming wealth. There were two major communities, landed and the landless. The landed community and the landless community always started to have direct challenge with each other. These were all then associated with superstitious beliefs, mantras mostly from 𝗪𝗵𝗨, very complex rituals and sacrifices, like for example yagna and homa. Yagnas and homam, these made ritualism over dominated. For everything there was a rigid system, you have to do like this only, you cannot do like that only. This sort of confusion created more trouble. And Upanishads were too philosophical, it complicated concepts for the commoners. I mean, instead of explaining things in a simplistic manner, Upanishads and other Veda Samhitas only made the entire content of religion, content of the society more complicated and more confusing. A direct reaction to this was Shramana tradition. Whereas most of the Shramanas like Ajivikas, later period Guptas and Jains, Buddhists and Jains, these people helped to simplify philosophy of a religion, explaining in Pali, explaining in Prakrit. Shramanic traditions made things quite easy for people to understand. One of the first reactions to all these caste rigidities, later Vedic rigidities, was a reaction with a philosophy called Jainism. Jainism, just like Buddhism, was actually a philosophy. It started as an idea, eventually it became a religious policy, a religious principle. Now, let me be very clear on this, not only here, but whenever you read about philosophy, now that may be the Shaddarshanas or the 6 Hindu philosophies of the Orthodox school, or the philosophies of the heterodox school, you have to understand that philosophies are nothing but merely just ideas. Philosophies are nothing but ideas. I mean, they are just an idea. There are no good philosophies or bad philosophies. There are no right philosophies, there are no wrong philosophies. There is just a philosophy. Jainism believes that the philosophy of Jainism or the concept of Jainism has been there before the world, and it will be there even after the world. So, Jainism believes they have been there from the time of creation, they are with the creation. Jainism as a philosophy will survive even after creation. These Jains are actually followed by or guided by 24 Tirthankaras. A Tirthankara, Tirtha means a holy place. So, 24 Tirthankaras are associated with 24 holy places, basically the banks of river. There are 24 Tirthankaras or 24 Gurus who guided the Jains, who are currently guiding the Jains through their books and through their philosophy. Even among these 24, we actually read really about 3 people. Rishabhanada, first Jain Guru, 23rd Guru Parshavanada, and 24th Guru Vardhamana Mahavira. We only read about 3 Gurus. Rishabha, first Guru, Parshava, the 23rd Guru, and Vardhamana Mahavira, 24th Guru. The only 3 Gurus who are important in our Jainism. So, there are 3 main Gurus among the 24 whom we study. The first Guru, Rishabhanada. 23rd Guru, Parshavanada. 24th Guru, Mahavira, Vardhamana Mahavira. See, other than these, there is actually totally 24 of them. In fact, one school of Jains even believe that one of the Jain Gurus or one of the Tirthankaras was a female. So there is that belief as well. There is one of them who is considered a female Guru. We will see that in a little later time. So everybody who follows a Guru is a Jain. A Guru is called Jina. Follower of a Jina is a Jain. And this entire philosophy put together is called Jainism. Jainism is actually that philosophy which is a combination of all the concepts, all the philosophical thoughts given by the 24 Gurus. Again I am repeating, major contributors, only 3 of them. Rishabhanada, Parshavanada, 23rd Guru Parshavanada and 24th Guru Vardhaman Mahavira. And for many of you, you do know that Mahavira is actually the most popular Jain Guru. So, a Jina basically means a victor or conqueror. Basically, conqueror of ignorance. Jain is a follower of a Jina. Jainism propagates that it has originated centuries before Buddhism. It has been there forever. Jainism believes they are a philosophy which has existed forever. 24th Tirthankara Mahavira revived it into the present form. The present form of Jainism is actually a format or a philosophy which was given by Vardhaman Mahavira, the 24th Guru. The religion, Jainism, actually has no beginning, no ending. So, as I said in the beginning itself, Jainism believes it has been there forever. It is for an eternity. And Jain theology says it is the oldest religion which has no beginning and no end. This is what Jains believe, guys. This always remember that Jains are the ones who believe this. In Sanskrit, as I said, Jina means a conqueror, means connoting the path of victory in crossing over life's streams of rebirth through ethical and spiritual life. Putting it simple, somebody who has conquered, who has stopped this cycle of birth and death. And that the individual has done through ethical and spiritual life. Simply saying, following certain rules. By following certain rules, if an individual has attained domination over ignorance, that individual is known as Jina. In Jainism, there are 24 of them. Teachers in Jainism are known as Tirthankars, given that Tirthankaras are associated with a holy place. Every Tirthankara is associated with a certain holy place, a certain holy location, generally a river bank. Tirthankara is founder of a Tirtha. A Tirtha is a pilgrim place, settlement on the banks of holy river. A settlement which is on the banks of a holy river is generally known as Tirtha. Then the word Tirtha is derived from the word Tir, Sanskrit word Tir, which is the bank of a river settlement. Tirthankaras achieve enlightenment and even show the path to others. Moksha or liberation is the purpose of all Tirthankaras and the purpose of human life according to Jainism. Moksha is the purpose of human life according to Jainism, and here see in Buddhism moksha is called nirvana, here moksha is called kaivalya. That is why a Tirthankara is also called Kevalin. Kevalin means somebody who has achieved kaivalya or somebody who has attained kaivalya. A Kevalin basically means somebody who has attained kaivalya. The first Tirthankara is Rishabhadeva, 24th Tirthankara is Vardhaman Mahavira. As I said, 24 Tirthankaras each associated to a holy place. 20 of the 24 Tirthankaras are associated directly with 𝗬𝗏𝗔𝗃 or Shikharji. It's a location in Jharkhand near Giridh region. One of the most sacred places for Jains in the world. Of the 24 gurus, 20 of them are directly associated with Giridh region, Jharkhand, 𝗬𝗏𝗔𝗃. Vasupujya attained nirvana at Champapuri in North Bengal. Neminatha in Mount Girnar in Gujarat. Mahavira, the last, attained at Pavapuri in Patna. So these are the others: Vasupujya, Neminatha and Mahavira. In general, this is the Jain symbol. Jains have a symbolic representation for their religion. The raised hand in Jainism, the raised hand actually implies a mudra, Abhay mudra. Don't fear when I am here type. Okay. The upper three symbols that you have here, the three dots, they are the three rules of Jainism: Samakhya Jnana, Samakhya Acharana, Samakhya Darshana. We will be seeing that a little later in this session. Also, Jainism has this symbol represented generally in their flags. Jainism also has a flag. So, all Jain monasteries, Jain churches do have a flag. In their symbols, in their events, in their temples, in their religious institutions, in their cultural institutions, Jains consistently have this symbol. The symbol includes a swastika, a hand like Abhay mudra. First Guru, Rishabhanatha. Rishabhanatha is also called Adishwara, Adinatha, Yugadideva, all are his names. Kesariya, all are his names. Rishabhanatha. And Rishabhanatha is symbolically represented with a bull. See, there is one school of Jainism, there are certain divisions in Jainism. One of the schools does not represent human form of Rishabhanatha. Instead, they give a symbolic representation, that is a bull. He was the first of the 24 lords in Jainism in the present half cycle. Jainism has two cycles, the cycle of creation and the cycle of destruction. Currently, we are in the cycle of creation. And Rishabhanatha is believed to be a ford maker. Ford maker basically is somebody who creates the bridge between the world of ignorance to the world of knowledge. Ford maker basically means somebody who has created a bridge between the world of ignorance, which is the world we are in today, to the world of knowledge, to the world of peace. So, Jain Tirthankara, that is what the concept of Jain Tirthankara is. He guides you by building a bridge between your ignorant world to the knowledge world. Rishabhanatha had two wives, Sunanda and Sumangala. You know, Rishabhanatha is also mentioned in Bhagavad Purana as Narayana. In Bhagavad Puranam, he is actually represented as Narayana, a name which is associated with Lord Vishnu. Akshaya Tritiya is the day where he actually attained his salvation. It's considered very holy and supremely auspicious by Jains. Rishabhanatha attained his Kaivalya on Akshaya Tritiya, which even today remains one of the most important festivals, both for Jains and Hindus. So, he had two children, two wives, Sunanda, Sumangala. Sunanda's children were Bahubali and Sundari. Sumangala's children were Bharata and Brahmi. Bahubali is the one whom we today call as Gomateshwara. At 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 in Karnataka, see, in 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 in Karnataka, there is a statue, a monolithic single statue on which the Jains regularly do Mahamastabhishekam. You know, the puja they do every 12 years. That statue is of Gomateshwara. This Gomateshwara is Rishabhanada's son Bahubali. Now, this Bharata is believed to be the king on whose name this land is called Bharatavarsha. Now, there are different ways of interpreting this. According to Jains, this is called Bharatavarsha based on Rishabhanada's son Bharata. Okay, Sunanda, Sumangala. 23rd Guru is Parshavanada, Guru number 23. He is represented with hooded snake, like a snake which comes like this, a full crown, a full hooded snake like this. Parshavanada. Parshavanada is also called historical founder of Jainism because currently the principles which Jains follow, majority of those principles were given by Jain Guru Parshavanada. Parshavanada is one of the 4 Tirthankaras who attract the most devotional worship among Jains. The others being Rishabhanada, first Guru, Arishtanemi or Neminada, the second Guru, 23rd Guru Parshavanada and 24th Guru Vardhamana Mahavira. Among these 4, Parshavanada also gets the most devotional worship. And as I said, he is represented as serpent hood over his head. Just like how there is a whole icon of snake opening like a hood on Vishnu, which we see in Hinduism, is also seen in Jainism. He is credited with starting the tradition of the 4-fold restraint for monks. Jainism gives 5 rules for monks: ahimsa, astheya, aparigraha, satya, brahmacharya. So, there are 5 rules in Jainism. Ahimsa, non-violence. Astheya means not to steal. Aparigraha, not to have wealth beyond means. Then Satya, truth. These are 4 rules: ahimsa, astheya, aparigraha, Satya these 4 were given by Parshavanada, the 23rd Guru. And this is the hooded snake that you see, the symbol. These 4. Satya means not to lie, always speak truth. Ahimsa, no injury, not to hurt anybody. Astheya, not to steal, not to take something which do not belongs to you. Aparigraha means non-possession. The way to describe aparigraha is not to have wealth beyond means, not to have wealth beyond necessity. Whatever is required to survive, keep it. Others, donate it. This has always been the principle of Jainism given by 23rd Guru. The uniqueness is the next Guru who came, 24th Guru, Vardhaman Mahavira, he revived Jainism into an entirely new form. Not only did he add the 5th principle, which is brahmacharya, he also gave new interpretations and new meanings to these 4. Ahimsa, astheya, satya, aparigraha, he gave new meanings to these 4. Vardhamana Mahavira. Mahavira's period even today remains sort of confusion among historians, but generally accepted time period is 599 BC to 523 BC. His father was Siddhartha, mother Trishala Devi. Trishala Devi was the sister of 𝗳𝗃𝗃 At a later stage, you will actually hear about 𝗳𝗃𝗃 because 𝗳𝗃a's daughter is Chalana. She was married to the greatest king in Magadha dynasty, 𝗵𝗵𝗏. Trishala Devi is the sister of 𝗳𝗃𝗃 of Lichavi dynasty. 𝗳𝗃a's daughter is Chalana, married to 𝗵𝗵𝗏. So technically Mahavira was actually related to 𝗵𝗵𝗏 Magadhan king, which remains the biggest reason for why Magadhan state supported Jainism so much. Mahavira was born in Kundagrama near Vaishali state, in those days also called Vriddhi. He was born on the 13th day of rising moon of Chaitra, basically 2 days before Chaitra Purnima. He was born 2 days before Chaitra Purnima. Mahavira was married at the age of 19 years. He was married at the age of 19 and his wife was Yasoda. He even had a daughter, Priyadarshi. He had a daughter, Priyadarshi. Very similar to Buddha, Mahavira also left the household at the age of 30. Buddha was married at the age of 18. He left the house at the age of 29. Mahavira was married at the age of 19. He left the house at the age of 30. Okay, 1 year difference, only 1 year difference between these two. 599 to 527 BC, R.S. Sharma says 523 BC, J.N. Mehta says 527 BC. So depends on the historian, little bit here and there, that's okay, ancient India. For 12 years, at the age of 30 he left the household, at the age of 42 he attained Kaivalya. He attained Kaivalya at the age of 42. And where he attained is on the under a sal tree near the banks of Jimbika Grama, northern bank of Rijupalika river, present day Bihar. Under a sal tree, Buddha was under a peepal tree, Mahavira under a sal tree. Jimbika Grama, northern bank of Rijupalika river. Once he attained salvation at the age of 42, for the next 30 years, he was traveling across the Ganga Yamuna region, spreading his jnana, his enlightenment. Finally, at the age of 72, Mahavira committed Sallekhana Vrata. This is sometimes also called Samtara. Samtara is actually a practice where there is a complete method of self-starvation. No eating, no drinking water, giving up life through a very painful process. Mahavira believed that this painful process is the only way to attain salvation, and Mahavira himself did this at Pavapuri in South Bihar region. Vardhaman Mahavira also was a Kshatriya. His father was a great king. His mother was also actually a princess from the 𝗳𝗃𝗃. And eventually, once he attained salvation, he travelled for 30 years, just like Buddha. He also travelled for 30 years. He was married at the age of 19. He attained salvation at the age of 42. Mahavira is commonly referred to as 𝗲𝗏, 𝗪𝗏𝗏, Ativira, Gnataputra and different books. Even Buddhist books talk about Mahavira. Buddhist Pali canons call him Nigada Nataputta. This information is important for your prelims, factual information. Very important for your prelims and factual information. 𝗲𝗏, Ativira, Gnataputra, 𝗪𝗏𝗏, Nigata Nataputta. So his parents were both Kshatriya. Mother himself was a princess. Father was also Siddhartha. He was married to Yasoda at a very young age of 19. And as I said, he had a daughter, Priyadarshana. She is in Pali books, she is called Priyadarshi or Annoja. She is also called Annoja. Priyadarshi, Priyadarshana or Annoja. All the three are her names only. Daughter's name, Mahavira's daughter's names. At the age of 30, he gave up his family life, spent 12 years as a wandering monk. Initially, remember, he was only an Ajivika. So, in this session we have seen introduction on Mahavira, we have seen what is Jainism, what are the reasons for the start of Jainism, what are the specific facts and specific information about Mahavira. In the next session we will see more about Jainism. Thank you. Have a nice day.